Good evening, everyone. We were initially quite comforted for being invited amongst the young practices. While there's a lot more experimental and inspiring work being done otherwise, why were we here? Well, let's accept as individuals we aren't all that young anymore, but the firm, well, yes, is still struggling like an amateur day in and day out. Ironically, 18 years isn't much. The current friction being making a choice to stay as a boutique practice to imagining the organization with an independent identity has been a challenge. Apart from a certain kind of perpetual self doubt one strives with when in a creative pursuit, sustainability appears to be an obstacle of high order in a society driven by economy. Yet one continues to grow and learn. To these eternal learnings, hence the title Lessons in Landscape. The Heisenberg principle of uncertainty states that you can never simultaneously know the exact position and the exact speed of an object because everything in the universe behaves like both a particle and a wave in motion at the same time. Thus, rather than being self-consumed or complacent, this seemed like an opportunity to converse with those who have believed in us or influenced us. To gather a perspective on the practice and the profession in general, we decided to inquire with a few near and dear ones who have either collaborated or mentored or contributed in shaping us as individuals or been catalysts in our practice. These are bare glimpses to find out how they think of it. Tip of an iceberg which will remain highly grateful to many more who aren't here but matter to us as much.
He's been agricultural background from our family. Landscape is part of integral part of our lifestyle. Being a nature lover, I used to trek, so those influences were there in my mind.
I was brought up in a very scenic small village on Krishna River. The name is Why. These things or these values and the things which you see around get inculcated in you. It just gets embedded in you.
From the childhood, I used that hobby from the beginning. Wherever I go, I will try to pick up the plant.
Every weekend, we used to go in forest. One of my professors actually inspired me. He told me do you know Vidya Raghu?
My school is on a hill. It has a lots of trees. There are many grounds, like a football ground. And I don't know why, but there are 2 basketball grounds. I love to go to Bhutan and to see the lion, tiger, deers and kangaroo.
You if you travel in plane early morning 6 o'clock, you will find that what is landscape.
Architecture is only about building and inside it. But landscape architecture is around the building. Like the swimming pool, the trees, the shrubs, into the right place so it looks good.
Basically, lot of efforts first go into something which is not safe. So basic hydrology, subsoil water and all that. So they take care of all these things in the initial stage itself. Then comes to design, utility.
Antenna should be always on in terms of architecture. Like when you go into restaurant, you should not see at the menu card first, but then you should see the interior ambience.
There is also a very diverse field which deals with creating ambience, initiating a lifestyle.
22 years back when we had designed a washing place, in a landscape, that person was so happy to wash utensils. He is proud of that place.
The landscape architects can do a lot in bringing the nature into the city.
Most important part is what they think about their own profession kind of dictates how what kind of work they do.
When we were traveling in Bali, in some of the hotels, the farming itself was the landscape feature. How the farming can integrate with the landscape.
Taking about the Google images, then mapping, then taking measurements of any particular area is not something which environmentalists would easily do it, because we look at the ecological indicators, you know how to document it, but creating a structure out of it and bringing them all together and fitting in the human needs at the same time in a given natural ecosystem.
आता ही पॅव्हिलियनची आयडिया माझ्या डोक्यात नव्हतीच की बाहेर आपण बसायला गप्पा मारायला आपलं वाटतं लॉन पुढेच आहे चिडाकल्या बसलो पण ते ऑल द सीझन पूर्ण वर्षभर पण बसू शकत नाही उन्हात किंवा पावसात वगैरे असेल म्हणून पॅव्हिलियन म्हणजे मोस्ट हॅपनिंग प्लेस.
मोबाईलवर बसून मी म्हटलं की मला असं असं पाहिजे आणि तिला परफेक्ट उमेश हॅज गॉट अ एक्सलंट ग्रास्प. तो बेसिकली तो आर्टिस्ट आहे. whenever you convert landscape in an art form then there's a value to the landscape.
माझं एक आधी हे होतं की लोकलच मला झाडं पाहिजे थोडंसं एक्झॉटिक व्हरायटीज किंवा आउट ऑफ द प्लेस बाहेरच्या कंट्रीजमध्ये झाडं पाहिजे असं काही कन्सेप्ट. मग एक कन्सेप्ट त्यांनी जो दिला मला की घर तुमचं जे आहे ते चारी बाजून दाट झाडांनी असं वेढलेलं असेल तर चारी बाउंड्रीजना मोठमोठी झाडं त्यांनी केले. तो कन्सेप्टला इन्स्टंटली पटला. नंतर घर तुमचं म्हणे जोपर्यंत आपण त्या गेट जवळ येत नाही तोपर्यंत दिसणार नाही म्हणे काही वर्षांनी. The elevation should become non-elevation and it should merge with the landscape. So that was the basic idea. Then I think in that project, next project was done in MIQ, and then there we tried a different concept with Umesh because there the very orchestrated landscape was there. In the lawns there were strips and all that. Totally contrast in terms of landscape was there. Later on, some larger project came, and fortunately Umesh was with us. So that time he was not married, so he used to stay more in Nasik. That was a good, kind of joint process of
All day, from morning 9 o'clock to evening 9 o'clock, Dad is just working.
I think it goes back about 4 years ago when Prachi shared me a wonderfully written, very studious article by architect Aniket Bhagwat on Sabarmati riverfront. She started coming to our different activities on the river banks. She started understanding what are the, what exactly is the thing which is going wrong with the river. I would say it's a give and take.
I started working 17-18 years back with Umesh. We like to understand from us also, with the main architect, with the client. Best part, he gives the freedom to the contractor. I must have worked 100 projects with Umesh. And one thing, he has to deliver the drawings in time.
I almost worked in 2-3 international firms after that. I'm thankful to Roots that it made my foundations strong. I think it was the best decision I have ever taken.
Roots is special. I can only say that I've grown as a landscape architect.
Unfortunately, landscape comes at the end of the project where client has finished his money.
आमचं एक रफली 50,000 रुपयाचं हे आहे महिन्याचं. म्हणजे मॅनपॉवर खर्च जास्त आहे आपला. बरोबर आमचं आयडिया अशी की सेल्फ सस्टेनेबल पाहिजे. म्हणजे हे थोडा प्रोजेक्ट जो आहे की आपण किती पैसे खर्च करतो दरवेळेस. आता आपण काम करतो किंवा कमवतो म्हणून ठीक आहे. पण आपण समटाईम वेळ तयार तेव्हा तो खर्च आपल्या अंगावर यायला नको.
But whether a client is going to spend or not this end material, I don't consider how much they're going to spend or not, or they're not going to spend. We submit our proposal with a bold and daring need.
Earlier we used to do complete model of the bungalow with the landscape, so that image is carried further till end.
I think there cannot be a budget. Just consider ITC Kohinoor has a green wall of 3.5 crore rupees, green wall and green road, whereas the landscape budget was on the ground was 85 lakhs rupees.
I see the irrigation changes from hose to the cloud.
Every season it should give some or the other trees should either fruits or flowering. or foliage. Three-season planting plan in terms of bird habitation, in terms of fruitfulness, in terms of usefulness, in terms of aesthetics.
All these big projects needs the horticulturist and landscape contractors in a very large way.
Even the constitution gives us this. Section 51A(g) also gives us a responsibility towards conservation and protection of the natural services which the nature has given us without having anything in return. Conserving and protecting nature and restoring the nature is everyone's responsibility.
Initially, it was just ground. Then we started having indoor gardens. Then we started having roof. Then wall. And now the latest is using voids. Irrigation has become now very important, and frankly speaking, it has gone to a level of 100% automation.
Daringly you have to design. See, you have to submit your the proposal and they will hypnotize with your ideas.
As naive as these conversations may have seemed, we gain our insights from these everyday realities and we forge ourselves. These very grounded and simple expectations is what we thrive on and tread our paths. After all, we do believe that God is in small things. But what were these insights? Well, they were about creating memories and associations, they were about being responsive to the environment, about adapting with changing times, or infusing values of art and culture where one can. It could be about rethinking architecture or even experimenting with plant material, finding solutions that surpass budgetary constraints or our ability to refrain when one can fall prey to the conventional, or the most recent of reclaiming nature in urbanity. And there would be many more such. Yet, still the question was, do these gains reverberate with our work? If yes, how? So, through these lenses, we tried to revisit a few projects close to our heart to gain an insight into whether they translated these values. So for example, a project such as mine, where one is involved from the site planning process, we attempt with the suggestion to reducing the building footprint, which is duly accepted and respected. From a conventional landscape layout, an ambitious landscape plan is made, the building gets executed, but the landscape never happens. Yet we continue to do what is well taken and in which we find joy. And sometimes you're so consumed with what is on your board. Beautiful campus of about 20 acres in a setting that is so beautiful. You're so engrossed creating spaces that would be memories for students coming in the future. Because you do it well, you continue to bag more projects of similar scale in the vicinity, only to realize over a span of 10 plus years with 3 different principal architects to comprehend that you're getting equipped for a 200 plus acre site. In the process, handling a site of 200 plus acres, over time to offer ecological binders. Feels like things are coming to a full circle. And yet continue to experiment, work with native grass species, over time learn changing volumes because of the growth of plants. Or at times an unexpected turnout of events, a case where one devotedly owns the responsibility of an incomplete architectural block due to lack of funds. Plinths and columns were constructed and landscape took the responsibility to make the site look complete. An affordable and experimental planting palette, minimal planting palette, just everything falls in the right place and gains your credible recognition. Or at other times where you have had consciously refrained from going overboard even when you had the freedom, to aspire to do what only is bare essential to justify the sanctity of the architectural function as well as the sculptural quality of the build, landscape is very understated. So, knowing where to stop is also as much essential. Yeah, so projects do happen when like-minded people come together in good faith and make them happen. Few which do not see the light of the day also have a lot of learnings to offer at various levels. As such, these engagements are extremely dynamic and many a times these externalities are beyond our control. Each project can't be everything, but we have to accept that it becomes more meaningful when comes in a context. To reinstate all such ideas, one requires sensitivity, ability to nurture fearlessness, flexibility and conviction. A firm belief in what we do at that point in time, stay true to your position, and we may hope that it may come to a full circle. So to sum it up, the next and last part of our presentation is a tiny fable. As landscape architects, trying to decode nature is one task we are constantly engaged with. While discerning human behavior is yet another struggle we go through while committing to a practice. The term nature has super layered meaning. Can drawing allegories help us learn of one from the other? It is up to the listener whether it chooses to interpret it either as a project idea that one conceives or as an individual's nature on which most design practices are built upon, or as a nature of an organization that is driven by certain values and principles, or as an aspiration of a fraternity or profession that now sits on a threshold of vulnerable times. It's called the seeds of aspiration. It's called the seeds of aspiration. A seed had been laying in the dark for a while. It had managed to survive and penetrate the soil. It had been precautious, a hard-shelled one it was, protecting the soft core inside for a cause. Yet there wasn't much around to fall back on, a barren canvas of land where the darkness of the sky merged with the cracks on the ground. It waited for the perfect weather, the right temperature and sunlight, a moment to come out of plight. The sun shone brighter and the monsoon showered generously this time, soon to become a sapling with a curious mind. Along came the seed of grass, very swaying and light. Wonderful, so now we've got some company, said the sapling with delight. It grew some foliage, a tier above and a branchlet below. It tended stems strong and stable, thus into a tree it was soon maturing. The grass was adaptable, not strong and stiff. It would perish in summers and reincarnate with a whiff. With roots fibrous and shallow, the blades change colors from green to yellow. Unlike the tree, it's streaked by laterally spreading, surely a tree free-spirited mind. Now there was some shade and the soil a bit moist, delicate ground covers began to show. Then came herbs, shrubs and bushes, swift and quick to grow. Few others settled, and no sooner they sprouted, the wild flowers mingled flawlessly with the grasses. Bugs, butterflies, ants in a row, cobwebs, lizards and worms below. Quite a busy picture, aho! On a tree that flowered and fruited, the chirping birds came to borrow. Some flew over the cuckoo's nest while the others stayed back in the hollow. The growth at times bouncing, at times sluggish, but mostly exciting, blending in with the summer, winter, monsoon and spring. Over time, while the girth increased in diameter, the grass spread further to meet the edge of water. To see a variety of reeds, skippers and over them damselflies, an encounter with the birds which floated and dived inside. Overjoyed was the grass with this moment to seize, they all sang along and swayed by the breeze. Later that night, the grass trolled back with the news, smiled to self as the tree would be amused. Well, said the tree, it's the same water that flows underneath. But now there's work, more fruiting needs to be done. Bigger birds are soon to appear. Slowly the trunk became hard and strong, the ever so expanding horizon it longed. There's more to seek, in less time, there's lots more to know, and the branches said they will help grow. Oh, what a miracle! The roots below ground, now in the air, begin to show. And this anchored the tree even more. Well, the birds, they did arrive, migrated from far off places. They told stories of lands dense and green and those other trees they had seen. Some had broad, thick, glossy leaves, whilst the others were neatly stiff. The tropical ones were moistily nice, and the conifers belonged to the higher lands with ice. Taller than the tallest, greener than the greenest, the way they describe one would rather despise. But the tree barely knew other than its stratum, of few like-minded ones beyond the undulating datum. As it emerged to have the vision of the surround, they exchanged smiles amongst the grasses abound. Few occasional chats and some encounters deeper over time to reveal their unique character. Some had textured barks or an articulate branching pattern, some bloomed profusely in spring, while the others changed foliage in autumn. Some growing from the seeds the tree earlier bore, and that was so reassuring, wasn't it, my dear? To meet during sunrise, discuss the weather, to converse over dusky evenings and become a bit wiser. Here it was, the world we sought that felt like Tinseltown. The changing hues of beautiful skies were now appreciated even more. The grass sprung back. What's an ecosystem, it asked. All beings in harmony with each other? You are a tree, an anchor for many. From where it all begins? Oh no, and it never ends. So, a metaphor which teaches us the value of a practice one tries to imbibe. Although complete in itself, its existence bears more meaning and relevance when part of an ecosystem, which in turn also ensures its sustenance. So, practice is the seed, the tree, and the ecosystem. Thank you.